Hi guys, welcome to Mark Anthony's Music Picks, episode 39. Today I'm going to go into one of my pet genres, my favorite, which is dub techno or techno, where you get that hybrid feeling of the dub techno reverb and the big spatial effects that are applied to the tracks, and also the pounding foundation of the regular standard techno as it would be considered. Today I'm going to present 5 records to you that came to me during my early dub techno days, and I'm going to say this is anywhere from 2007 until 2010, and this was right when Echo Space was blowing up, but I'm not going to do Echo Space in this episode, although I have one behind me right there. I'm going to do some of the other little bit less popular dub techno artists, but still I think they really brought some heat back in the day. And a lot of these artists still aren't doing their thing at this point. That they dropped off in the mid 2010 decade, and they haven't been heard from since, unfortunately. But I would love to see a revival from a few of these guys. So the first title I'm going to show you is probably the most low-key out of all of them, and this is Quantix Circles, and this is the re-edit. I found this because of one of my friends on Discogs, Adam01, who is a dub techno connoisseur. And he made a really interesting comment about it, and it got me to listen to it. And it's a really super deep and slow, just like molasses type dub techno track. And it kind of it sounds like if a car had a flat tire and the circle was rotating, but like in a very off axis type way where it's not centered. So instead of being smooth, you kind of get this like forward and back type feeling created by the beat here. Would I drop this in a set? Maybe super early on, just to if I was really opening up, I would drop this, but it's a little bit too low key. But maybe for home listeners that really like to just zone out and chill, I recommend picking this up. Next is an artist that I think a lot of people wish would come back, and this is Atheus, and this is his wide EP on M.A.M.P, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, B-A-U-M. The track that I love on this EP that doesn't seem to have a lot of reviews or have gotten a lot of attention is Quadra Delay. Quadra Delay reminds me of the early Basic Channel releases. If you go back and listen to the early catalog of Basic Channel, they had these very busy, aggressive tracks that were filled in the mid and high level frequencies with a lot of reverb and a lot going on. And this is like that too, except it's a little bit slower, which is why I like it. And that tends to be why I avoid the Basic Channel releases, because I can't relate to stuff that's like in the mid 130s. Some of those tracks are just so fast and aggressive that it's just outside of my style or my preference. But this is right in the wheelhouse. And if you listen to this, I think the best part, and you'll hear this in the sample, is that it's using flangers, but the flangers kind of create this like rocket sound effect. Like it sounds like bottle rockets or little rockets kind of like hissing and whizzing off into the distance. It creates like a really cool, energetic effect. I just love this one, and I feel like based on what I see on Discogs, it might be a little slept on, but this is like a club dub techno banger in my opinion. Next up is an artist, again, that came on the scene in the early 2000s and then dropped off around 2012 and 2013. I guess he just was done making music and he went on to do something else. And this guy's name is Jorvik. It's actually with a D. I think the D or the J might be silent. I'm not sure. I'm gonna say it's Jorvik. If anybody wants to correct me, that's fine. And this is on a label called Peace Communications, which I remember this guy. The guy that started Peace Communications, he ended up like not being able to sell all the records, and I remember he was trying to sell like hundreds of them in a batch on Discogs a couple years after he started the label. I guess he got stuck with all this inventory and he couldn't unload it. But Jorvik, anyway, the track on here is called Dance of the Deep, and this is not dub techno, but it has a lot of reverb, so it could be played in a dub techno set, but it's very aggressive and cavernous, and it's still filled with a lot of reverb and punch. So if you want something that you could play in the same set as that record I just talked about, the Atheus Quadra Delay, you could drop this Dance of the Deep, and I think it would get some attention. Jorvik, not a lot of people know about him. He just kind of like, did some really nice releases and, peaced out, and that's been it. Also check the Moleo, if I'm saying that correctly, the Moleo release on Peace Communications, same label as this one here. There's a track on there called Vacuum that I thought about featuring in this episode, but you guys can check that out on your own if you like. Next title is by Alexander Kowalski. This is a track called Reset, and it's on a label called Damage, and there's an extra wild track on the backside that I'm not crazy about. This sounded really good to me in the samples. I'll admit, because it's on white vinyl, it's colored white, I think the pressing's a little bit whack, and I'm not the type of guy to complain about crackle and hiss and stuff, but it sounds like it's clipping a little bit in the high end. If you listen to the sample, you might even be able to detect that. Maybe I got a bad copy, maybe it's just because it's on white vinyl. It's just got this clippy kind of thing where maybe if you turn the treble down, I'd have to test it. You might be able to kind of like resurrect it, but it can be a little bit harsh to listen to. But this has like really explosive energy to it. Just like real, it's like a fist pumping techno / dub techno hybrid. Like I said, this would go in with those last two records that I showed you, the Jorvik and the Atheus. Same kind of set, this would work. Last one of the episode today is one of my favorites, and it's on Echo Chord Color. This was when to me the colored vinyl craze like really just went ape. This is Echo Chord Color, and this is the second release on their catalog. I always loved how the orange on this turned out. I mean, it's beautiful. There's a Luke Hess on the A side that's okay. I'm not really super into Luke Hess, but it's a nice track. Marko Furstenberg, though, on the B side, dropped his track called Site 312, which I wrote a review for on Discogs years back. and man, I loved it. This is one of those records that I had a moment with kind of when I bought it. Sometimes I'll buy a record and I'll listen to it and nothing happens, and sometimes it'll hit me in just the right way where I'll sit there and just play it on repeat for a couple hours because it's just like perfect for me. This is like in the zone, just early opening set dub techno material, and I love it. And I think that what really seals the deal is the bongos that are in it. I've always been a sucker for bongos. I tried production like 5-10 years ago, and I couldn't ever really get it to click for me, so I kind of just left that alone. But whenever I did make a track, I always ended up putting some kind of drums or bongos in it. And this is the type of bongo that really just like gets my ear just perfectly. So again, Site 312, opening set material here, and maybe one of the most dope records that Marko Furstenberg ever made. Unfortunately, he stopped producing too in 2013, 2014, but if he comes back, I'd be happy to check out his new releases. I hope he does. That's all I have for tonight, guys. I really hope you enjoy this episode, and if there's any other dub techno hybrids that you'd like to suggest that those records remind you of, just let me know. Put them down in the comments, and I love hearing from you. I hope you're all enjoying your fall. Take care. Peace.